I want to know why you think the Detroit Lions will have a top 5 backfield in the NFL this year. Go for it.
So I do believe they'll have a top 5 backfield. And the reason for that is, and listen, Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't played an NFL game. So a lot of this is potential, based off potential. But if you go off backfields in the NFL, and I want to read a couple of these off. And Adam, if you could participate with me, I'll read them off. And you tell me if the Lions backfield is better. How about with that? Jack can chime in as well. All right. We'll start with, I think, the best backfield in the NFL, and that starts with the 49ers, right? Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell. Would you say that they're better than the Lions?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll start with the next one. The Browns. They did have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, but they don't have Kareem Hunt right now. He's a free agent. It's just Nick Chubb. Right now, according to the depth chart for the Browns, the backups now is Jerome Ford.
Can I ask you something before you get to that? What's your definition of the best backfield?
Combination of the two running backs.
So it doesn't matter how good number one is. It's about having depth.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing.
Well, I'll tell you this. If I want to go out on a limb here, I think Jahmyr Gibbs and David will be better than Nick Chubb. How about that? If we're going to go combination. So if you want to use the number one running back, that's fine.
I want to know.
No,
so you have the Niners higher.
Yes, because combination-wise, they're...
Okay, go for it.
Combined, they're better.
I'm listening.
Okay, so stick with me. Everybody, I would agree, 49ers have a better backfield. We'll go to the Browns. I would say the Lions now have a better backfield. With Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, there's an argument, but he's not there no more. I'd give it to the Lions. We'll go to the Packers, NFC North. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. Can I interest you in that? What do you think?
No, I'm not a fan of A.J. Dillon. I think he's a bum. And Aaron Jones, probably on the later side of his career. Going downwards, so I'm going to go with the Lions. I'll give you the Lions. Can we go by just starting the division?
Yeah, Vikings.
Lions have a better backfield than the Bears. If you want to
Vikings,
consider
Dalvin Cook, Alexander
if you
Madison.
consider Justin Fields a running back, though, I mean, I think that compensates a lot. Do we count Justin Fields as a running back?
No, we do not.
Okay. And then the Lions have a better backfield than the Bears, Packers, and Vikings.
Okay, all right, perfect. So those are some of the teams
let's go to the NFC East now.
Okay, well, NFC East, we'll go
Tony Pollard,
Dallas Cowboys. How about that? Dallas Cowboys right now, Tony Pollard, and
I'll give you the Lions.
They just drafted Deuce Vaughn. Okay, so you're going to give it to the
Lions.
Lions. Saquon, Matt Breida. Saquon's that dude.
Saquon's production
It's okay. If you want to give it to the
insane.
Giants, that's fair.
But it's not a better backfield by definition.
Right.
By your definition, it's not a better backfield. Because they lose Saquon and they're done. The
Right.
Lions lose David Montgomery, they have Jahmyr Gibbs, right? So I'll give it to the Lions. That's fine.
Okay, so
moving on.
NFC, we'll stick with the NFC East. Philly, DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny. These guys.
I have to factor in Jalen Hurts. I have to.
So we're going
I just have to. That's the problem. I mean,
because Lamar Jackson.
I tried
by
avoiding
default.
it. I tried avoiding it with the Chicago, but I can't. Kenneth Gainwell. It doesn't matter who they have in the backfield. They're going to be able to run the ball very well. Talent-wise, yeah, of course I'm giving it to Detroit. Fine.
And this is
DeAndre Swift is not reliable. It's like saying
it's
basically Kenneth Gainwell and whoever the hell else they have.
It's essentially just Swift.
That's fine. I'm not going to
Penny.
consider the quarterback, so it's fine.
Okay, and honestly, the reason why I wouldn't even be mad if you said Philly is because I think the offensive line matters. That's why the Lions, I think,
we're
gets
talking
a little
about
bit of
backfield
boost.
only.
Yeah,
no.
but,
If it's only backfield,
then go talent.
Because we're going to talk about offensive line and
Right.
quarterback. I can list a handful of teams, but just the running backs. Swift isn't proven. Gainwell is okay.
Yep. And Rashad Penny.
Rashad Penny's always hurt.
Always hurt.
I don't want to hear that.
Okay.
Rashad Penny's always hurt.
So the only team that we've gotten so far better is the 49ers. That's where
we're not
at
there
right
yet.
now.
But yes, so far none.
Okay.
We're in the NFC East still.
Yep.
We'll get to the Commanders.
So we'll
I don't
go-
think the Commanders have a better backfield than the Lions.
Okay, there's the NFC
So that's
East.
the NFC East.
Okay.
Now go to the South.
All right, so the NFC South, we'll start there.
Carolina, you can make a case.
Yes, Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard.
I would give Carolina the nod.
There's two. Falcons, Bijan, Tyler Algier.
I'd give Atlanta the edge.
Okay, so there's three now total. We'll go Buccaneers.
No.
Rashad White, Chase
Nope.
Edmonds. Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
We'll go to the NFC West now because this is where it gets more interesting, a little more talent here. I wouldn't say the Cardinals. They got James Conner.
No.
It's not great.
Cardinals, no. Rams,
no. 49ers, we'd give them
Absolutely.
to Seahawks
Hands
now.
down.
Kenneth Walker, Zach
Charbonnet. See,
that's
this
a
is the
good
thing.
backfield.
The way I'm going to ask the question is, who's a better running back, Kenneth Walker or David Montgomery?
Well,
Because the rookies are unproven,
right.
right? Zach Charbonnet, unproven. Jahmyr Gibbs, unproven. I don't care where they were taken. Tyler Algier was a 5th-round pick.
And he had 1,000.
So, again, you want to talk about depth, you answer the question. Who's a better running back? Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery.
right now.
And I don't think it's crazy, by the way, before you answer. I don't think it's crazy to say David Montgomery. The only back that has a higher break tackle percentage
That's where I'd
is
give the
Nick
edge.
Chubb. I mean, he's a
Yeah.
very good back. So
And
I'm
it's
not going to kill you here if you say Detroit. It's fine.
And then there's a
But
part
I'm just asking you.
But listen, Kenneth Walker, though, in only, 15 games at 1,000 yards? That's
no,
also
he was
impressive.
excellent. That's why I'm asking.
You know what? I'm going to
Because
give
if you're
the
going to
edge.
answer Kenneth,
I'm
then
gonna-
it should be Seattle.
Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to Kenneth, just because I think he's
And if you want to
big
go
fan of
back to
Kenneth Walker.
Atlanta, by the way, and use that same theory, I would say Detroit have a better backfield than Atlanta. It's more proven. Tyler
Okay.
Algier or David Montgomery. I'll go David Montgomery.
And then-
Bijan and Jameer Gibbs are unproven backs right now.
Okay.
Yes, they were drafted in the first round, but what does that really mean?
Okay, so we got
We
40
got two backfields in the NFC that we agree on.
So think about that. 49ers,
And Seahawks.
Seahawks,
All right, now go to the AFC.
and then let me just write this down so we keep track. Okay, now we'll go to the AFC. All right. So we'll start with the AFC East. We'll go
Okay.
Bills. James Cook, Damian Harris.
I'm a big fan of Damian Harris. But I'm going to give the Lions the edge.
Okay, and then we'll go Dolphins. Raheem Mostert, Jeff
Not even
Wilson.
close, not
Okay,
even close.
Ramondre Stevenson, Ty Montgomery. For the,
I mean, Ramondre Stevenson
he's
alone
good,
is
really
excellent.
good. Yeah, but combined backfield, you give
You
it
would
to
have
the
to
Lions
give it to
there.
Detroit, sure.
And then we got the Jets. Brees Hall, Zonovan Knight.
Yeah,
Michael
I'm going
Carter.
with the Jets, honestly.
You're gonna get-
Brees
okay.
Hall last year, up until he got hurt. You want to use the injury against him, that's fine. The
Okay.
guy would have been Offensive Rookie of the Year. Xavier Knight and anybody else that they were running with last year was pretty productive. I like the Jets situation.
All right, let's go to the AFC North. How about that? We'll go Ravens first. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards.
No. If I include Lamar Jackson, yes.
Well, no quarterbacks included, just backfield.
Yep.
Because it wouldn't be fair to Goff. He doesn't run
Yeah,
the ball. So
go for it.
Bengals, Joe Mixon, Chase Brown. Now that's an interesting backfield.
Yeah, give
I
me
like-
Joe Mixon.
Okay.
Give me Joe Mixon. Because you're asking me Joe Mixon or David Montgomery.
Right, now go Joe
and
Mixon.
it's Joe Mixon.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And Chase Brown, Tyler Algier. It doesn't matter where they're taken. These running backs produce.
Okay, and then we'll go Browns, Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford. I think backfield wise, Nick
that's a
Chubb's better
tricky
than
one.
both, but combined talent.
Combined, I'm going to give the edge to Detroit.
And
It's
then
fine.
Pittsburgh, Najee and Jalen Warren.
I'm not a fan.
Okay, so there you go. AFC South, Damian Pierce, Devon Singletary.
I think Dameon Pierce is a bit overrated. I think people were just in love with him because of fantasy football last year.
And then they
A
got
bit overrated. Not
and then
that
they
he's not
sa-
a good player,
right.
but I'm going to go a little bit overrated. Give me the Lions back.
Okay, and then Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss.
Jonathan Taylor by default.
Okay.
It's not even close. Jonathan
All right.
Taylor alone.
Jaguars, Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby.
That's a tricky one. Etienne was a bell cow back down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Lions.
Okay. And then we'll go Titans, Derrick Henry, Tajay Spears, which I like Tajay Spears.
I don't know how I feel about Tennessee. It's not the Derrick Henry of old, so give me the Lions backfield.
but, okay. And then we'll go AFC West, Javonte Williams, Samaj Perine.
Give me the Lions.
Okay.
A lot
Isaiah,
of questions over Javonte Williams' health. He's recovering slower than people expected. Even last year, to get hurt the way he did first game of the year, unfortunate, or second game of the year, something like that. Second or third game, I don't remember.
And then we got Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon.
Give me the Chiefs easily.
Chiefs.
Easily.
Oh, okay.
Easily.
All right, Chiefs.
It's a more dynamic backfield. Proven right
okay.
now.
Josh Jacobs, that's an Amir
Pass,
Abdullah.
pass.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's the Lions.
Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly.
I really don't like what Los Angeles does. I don't think they're consistent enough. Austin Eckler, yes, is an amazing back. I don't like how they rotate their backs. If you're asking me a backfield duo, give me the Lions duo. I think it'll work better than Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly.
So just to correct this, you think the 49ers are better?
Yep.
Seahawks are better?
Yep.
Panthers are better? You would give that edge to the Panthers still? Or did you say Lions?
That's a coin
You think it's a
flip.
toss-up?
Well, who's better, David Montgomery or
Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders?
Miles Sanders had
you
a better year last year.
Sure, but I'll go with David Montgomery. I think he's a more effective back.
And then you got Chuba or Jameer
And then
Gibbs.
it's Chuba Hubbard or Jameer Gibbs. It's a coin toss. Give me the Lions.
Okay.
I'll remove them off.
So we just have three: 49ers, Seahawks, and then for the third one, you said Jets.
Yep.
Okay.
And I had the
Bengals.
Chiefs and the Bengals.
Yes. Not ranking these in order, just
Yeah.
reading them off. And then Colts.
Yep.
Okay, and then Falcons. You said yes,
Falcons,
but then you turned
give
it
me
back.
the Lions.
Okay,
Look, it's
So-
Tyler Algier or David Montgomery.
So
That's the way I see
think
it.
about that. We went through and confirmed that 7 backfields you would give the
I
edge
think
to.
are better than the Lions.
Now, in my opinion, I think a couple of these are arguable because it's tough. We're basing it off potential. We don't know what Jahmyr Gibbs is going to look like, obviously. And also, I think the offensive line, although we're not factoring it in, I think this year, clearly, that's going to matter as well. And if you look at offensive line, I mean, I'd give the edge. I think Chiefs, 49ers, and that's about it. I think the Lions are in that conversation for best O-line. So the point is, Lions have according to us, a top 7, 8 backfield in the NFL, even with Jahmyr, who hasn't played a game.
Yeah, I'm good with
So I had them top 5. If you say top 7, that's
Let
fair.
me ask you this.
I think they're
Where
better
would
than
you
the
put
Jets.
them on the list if DeAndre Swift was still the running back? They wouldn't even be top 15.
Instead of Jahmyr Gibbs.
No, instead of David
Oh,
Montgomery.
wow. Yeah.
You swap Montgomery and Swift, they're not even top 15.
Yeah, it dramatically. There was a
And
couple
that's
of those
the thing.
teams
You
that
have
would
to
take.
value the David Montgomery signing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to produce even more behind that offensive line. He's essentially Nick Chubb, if you want to look at the statistics, the way he breaks tackles, the rate he does. That's great. That's what we're basing this off.
And that's why.
More so than Jahmyr Gibbs, in my opinion.
And you look at all the upgrades the Lions have made. Everybody talks about the secondary. Everybody talks about, especially now with Sam Laporta and the additions, the linebacker core. You bring up that backfield and how different it looks night and day compared to last year. Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift. You go through rankings last year with those two before the season, before Jamal got 1,000. That's a top 20, top 15 backfield. Now this year, even with Jahmyr, who has not played a game yet, with David Montgomery, we know what he is, and you mentioned him breaking tackles. He's a monster.
I think it's a top 10 backfield
Absolutely.
based off of what you expect to get out of Jahmyr Gibbs. I'll give you that. But if we're going to say what you expect, I think Atlanta's got to be in the conversation because of Bijan Robinson.
Yes, I
and
agree.
they already have a proven back in, God, why am I forgetting his name now? Tyler Algier.
Yep, Tyler Algier.
Right? You want to go to Seattle, Kenneth Walker, and now Zach Charbonnet, Chase Brown, and Joe Mixon.
Those are good duos.
So, look, history of the NFL tells me I don't need to be drafting a running back in the first round to get value out of them.
No.
So I'm not going to sit here and overvalue the Lions.
Just because he's a first
If you
round
want to
pick.
put him at 5 or top 5, I get it. To me, it's more of a top 10 backfield.
And that's the impressive thing. Even with talent alone, they're top 6, top 7. If you want to say top 8, whatever, they're top
David
10.
Montgomery does a lot of that for you, right?
Yes.
Like I said, if you swap him with DeAndre Swift or even Jamal Williams, and it was one of those two and Jahmyr Gibbs, this is a top 17, 18 backfield. You're not feeling confident. But you know, because David Montgomery's production in Chicago, his ability to break tackles, you know that he's going to be able to get to the second level more often than any running back you've seen in the last probably 5-10 years there in Detroit.
Now, another backfield I did not mention, the
for it.
last one, Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams is a scrub. He's just a goal line back. There's no difference between him and Taysom Hill. The only difference is one's black and the other one's white.
Okay.
And the other one identifies as a quarterback, right? So,
Identifies.
you
as a
know,
quarterback.
Alvin Kamara, I don't know. He's going to be suspended this year, I'd imagine, no? I don't know what the hell's
yes.
going on there.
Well,
So
they were talking about maybe whatever. If it's next year, regardless, he hasn't been able to stay healthy either. That has to be factored into it. But talent wise, I would
we're
still
talking about running backs like Aaron Jones and Alvin Kamara
Yes.
on the backside of their career. We're not talking about Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey. I'll pass on both of them.
So regardless, there you go. The conversation ends there. And we didn't even factor in this. I didn't want to include quarterbacks that run the ball or the offensive line. But if you're looking at just the top backfields in the NFL, I think running behind this offensive line, given Frank Ragnow can stay healthy, that production-wise, I think they'll be top 5.
How many carries did Jamal Williams get last year? Let's check. Jamal Williams last season ran for 1,066 yards on 262 attempts. If you give Taysom Hill 262 attempts, I bet you he gets 1,000 yards and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, 262 carries.
How many carries did Taysom Hill have?
Taysom Hill.
Honestly, I want to know right now. Taysom Hill last year ran for a total of 575 yards. Oh, this is even better. Taysom Hill averaged 6 yards a carry last year in New Orleans.
Yeah,
if
but
he
that
would have
was-
carried, if he would have carried the ball 262 times, Taysom Hill would have ran for 1,572 yards and 17 touchdowns. He would have been the MVP,
No.
Offensive Player of the Year, behind this Detroit Lions offensive line. That's what Taysom Hill would have done last year. Congratulations.
Well,
I rest my case.
You're talking about
I rest my
Taysom
case.
Hill, who runs.
I rest my case, damn it.
Yeah, you know what? Hell, behind this offensive line, Taysom Hill, man, he'd easily get 1,000 yards. But that's not the point. All right, the point is Lions backfield this year, top 10, top 8 on paper. I think top 5 in production. That's where I'm going to stand. Top 5 in production.
I think ballsy of you.
Yes.
Production, yeah. I mean, again, if Jahmyr Gibbs is what you want him to be, right? So let's think of production. Say it out loud. What's David Montgomery for you?
I think he's 1,000.
220, 240 carries. I think 1,000, 11, 1,200 yards.
Yes.
Depending on how, if he can get his yards per carry to 5, 5.1, 5.2, that would be excellent. I'm looking at 7, 8, 9 touchdowns from David Montgomery. When I look at Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm looking at 140, 150 carries maybe. 500 yards, 600 yards, and then 40, 50 receptions for 400 or 500 yards, and a total receiving and rushing probably 6, 7, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Production, you're talking 2,000 all-purpose yards essentially. Right? 2,000 yards from scrimmage, 15-plus touchdowns. Yeah, it's going to be one of the more producing backfields.
And even the backfields that we gave the edge for don't have a receiving back with that kind of upside. I mean, if you want to bring up Kamara, but you just brought up Jamal and how you don't believe he's as good as everyone thinks he is. So, again, on paper, if Jamal lives up to expectations, widely regarded, number 2 back in the draft, some had him 1. Again, this is all potential, and if he could stay healthy,
Jahmyr?
I think yes. I think production-wise, receiving, taking into account everything, yards from scrimmage, they'll be a top 5 backfield with this offensive line. I have no doubts about it.